I keep ending my vlogs, but my motivation is still there, so the end of my vlogs are usually the beginning of my next ones. If you recall, we have this waistband that we need to overlap to somehow hide the seam because it's gonna be in the front of my leg and form like a side seam. So what we're gonna do is operate between these pleats, open this one up so that I can slide this one in and add a button that pierces all three of them and holds it in place. You'll see what I mean. As explained earlier, we're gonna undo some stitches to form this fabric sandwich. This way it'll look seamless. But come to think of it, I think the belt will hide most of the waistband. I just need to mark that and then sew a buttonhole that'll be big enough for all of it. It's a lot of fabric, so maybe a bigger button will do the job. So I got one button in, and this is the flap that I was talking about. So this is basically just one of the pleats, and I'm gonna insert this inside the other pleat and then flap it right back over. And now we almost have a seamless connection of pleat after pleat after pleat. But this is gonna stress this button a lot. This fabric is not stretchy, so I'm gonna add just a second button here just to balance it out and distribute the stress over the waistband a little bit more. Here's a preview of what it looks like with a button on. The skirt's gonna need a lot of shortening to be accurate to Yamu's dress. It's 2 a.m. and I am currently doing some research on embroidery stitches because I'm really excited to start embroidering. Well, almost 2 a.m. I'm just exploring Pinterest and YouTube to see what kind of shell patterns or beach patterns, sea patterns that I can include onto my Yamu cosplay because, of course, she's a waterbender and I'm a waterbender. Or I would love to be a waterbender. And here's what I got so far. Different kind of stitches to resemble, I guess, seaweed. I honestly don't know what I should do. I don't want anything too flamboyant or colorful to distract from the top half because it's quite busy already. It'll probably be quite subtle, but I'm okay with that. I just love to embroider. I'll see you in the morning for the fitting. We have had a very long week and today we're gonna focus on shortening the dress and putting in the horsehair, while also secretly finishing the sleeve on the top. Here's a full look at the skirt so far in the light. It's nice and flowy, but the bottom falls a bit flat. I kind of like the floor drag look, but Yam's dress is ankle length, unfortunately. Here's the whole length that I removed from the bottom. We're gonna keep this strip of fabric just in case it comes in handy. And finally, it's time for the big horsehair. We're gonna line this all around the bottom of the skirt just to add a little bit more structure. And before we start anything, we have to finish these edges so that it doesn't just fray away. And to do that, we're just gonna use some of the fabric that we cut out from the bottom of the skirt. I told you guys the fabric trim would come in handy. We're basically wrapping the end so that it doesn't fray. This is a typical process when working with horsehair. Next, we're gonna pin it all along the bottom to know how much we need. The horsehair is gonna offer more structure and support to the edge of the skirt. This will help define the waves and give them a bit more bounce. Then we get to cut and finish off that end too, and only then can we sew it all down. So now that we have it done, we can just double flip it. So you flip it once and then you flip it again just to obtain this really crisp, really nice edge. That is how you finish a horsehair edge. Yes, that is the typical end of the world food supply reserve thing. I'm just another Asian family. I'm gonna start by pinning again all around at the folds. Make sure that they are well lined all around. So I'm supposed to sew this down too. And I know that the line will show. Yeah, I'm hesitating if I should even do that. It's dark outside. Clearly, it has taken me a lot of time to think about this, and I think that I've decided to hand sew it. I can almost do like a blind stitch because, you know, sewing in this seam, it is very apparent when there is a seam. I don't want that to go like right across the whole bottom of the dress. It defeats the purpose of elongation. I want to look long and lean, and that is a very counterproductive. So yeah, let's start. Let me show you what I'm up to. I'm pretty sure that this is called a blind stitch. Sorry, it's not that straight. Despite me drawing reference points for them, the point is that on the other side, you can see them as much unless you really focus. Otherwise, it would have been a line like this, but now it's just kind of there. There's just a lot left to do. Ow, I just stabbed myself. So yeah, there's just a lot left to do, but I don't mind the work. It's all part of the fun. I think I've been sewing for like 3 hours. I have like dark circles now. We are the next day and I am still hand sewing. I can see the end. Also, I lost my needle at like 3 a.m. yesterday, so I'm sewing with a new needle. Hopefully the other needle will show up again. When you're trying to do an invisible stitch, you want to use the thinnest needle that you can find so that it preserves the integrity of the fabric as much as possible. So I'm just gonna finish that and then we might be able to start the embroidery.
And there we go! You can see the structuredness that I was mentioning earlier. The folds are definitely more defined, and the twirl much more magical. Of course, before we hop into the embroidery, we have to plan out our design. From the emplacement to the actual design element, nothing is left out.
I don't know if I want to overlap the greenery with the shell or just keep them separate and alternate. So I might just start by embroidering all of the shells and see where I place the greenery after. Yeah. So I'm probably gonna start by embroidering the shells and then place all the seaweeds after where I want them. I want some bubbles though, for sure.
And I just wanted to interrupt this vlog to show off this ukulele that I decorated with all this food and have a little jam session with you. And we're back to work. I ended up erasing everything because I was so lost. The second time around, I made sure to sketch out the dress so that I could better picture the design on it. I narrowed down all the shell patterns down to 2 designs that I really liked, and I'm gonna stick to these for now until I decide to add maybe more details along the way.
I just came back from my last day in my first internship, and I could not be smiling more, and I could not be smiling any wider. Well, they kind of offered me a part-time job there, so I'm gonna see them again, but I still finished my first internship. On my way back, I kind of maybe have hoarded a bunch of pasta because it was on sale. I am sweating bullets right now because there's like a heat wave outside. I wanted to continue filming this vlog because I wanted to start and finish a very important part before I leave for my vacation. And of course, I'm taking you guys with me. I am hoping that I will find time on my vacation to work on my cosplay. We will see if it's doable. I was just looking at my dress and wondering how I'm gonna carry that around. So that pattern that you saw me draft yesterday kind of became this, and out of this, I kind of made more patterns so that I can use them to trace. This will be the master pattern that I will be referring to make more if I need to. Anyways, since I'm a little bit old school, I don't have a Cricut machine, so I will have to do this all by hand, which is fine. So basically, I traced on, what am I talking about? I'm just gonna show you right now.
We start by marking how far apart we want each shell, then we pin it down so that it doesn't move, and we trace over it to transfer the lead to the fabric.
And this is what it looks like. Okay, well, the camera can't see it, and I was actually hoping that it would show a bit more. You kind of see it here? So I was expecting it to show a tiny bit more, and by the looks of it, it's a little bit pale. I mean, the alternative would be just to cut out that shape and trace it, which wouldn't be a bad thing either. I'll try this for a bit and see how it goes.
So we get back onto the grind and we try some new techniques in hopes that it will transfer better.
I think I just figured out why it doesn't work. Because tracing it on my floor, it like transfers to my floor super easily. But onto this, it doesn't because of the horsehair. So if you look here, the horsehair is like kind of really perforated. So it doesn't really give a lot of support under it to get the texture across. So that's why just rubbing with my nails, it kind of worked a lot better because it kind of shook the fabric a little bit, if that makes any sense. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do. Maybe we're just gonna continue like this. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna scratch it around. I think so far it kind of looks cute. It'll be a cute detail. Sorry, I'm so sweaty. So I am excited to embroider this. Maybe I'll do a test one.
As I continued to transfer the pattern, I was afraid that the markings would rub off, so I decided to trace it just to make it a bit darker.
And that's about the time that we have. The sun is, well, not really going in my room anymore, so I am gonna have to leave you guys there and say see you next time, maybe. There was a spider. There's also like a dead fly to accompany that spider. How long have I not worked on this dress?